It was meant to be just another polished press stop. A charming appearance by Hollywood's most iconic leading man, a routine morning interview at Good Morning America to promote a deeply personal film. But what unfolded live on air wasn't just unexpected, it was explosive. What began with casual banter and studio smiles rapidly descended into one of the most contentious, humiliating confrontations of Brad Pitt's career. By the time it ended, the set was in disarray, security was on high alert, and the golden boy of cinema had walked out, furious, betrayed, and exposed. Brad Pitt arrived just after sunrise, his signature calm demeanor intact. He greeted makeup artists with warmth, joked with crew members, and brought a familiar aura of ease that only decades of stardom could generate. This wasn't just promo, it was a project he believed in, one he'd helped bring to life from script to screen. He wasn't there to dazzle. He was there to be seen for who he truly was. An artist, a storyteller, a man. But unbeknownst to Brad, George Stephanopoulos had a different agenda. Armed with a folder full of recent tabloid headlines and whispers from Hollywood insiders, George wasn't interested in cinematography or character arcs. He was preparing for confrontation, a confrontation that would be broadcast live to millions. The show opened smoothly enough. George greeted Brad with the usual charm. "Brad, good to have you here. You're looking sharp as always." Brad smiled and returned the pleasantries. For a brief moment, everything seemed on track. But then, George leaned in, tone shifting from friendly to sharp-edged. "Before we dive into the film," he said, "let's talk about what everyone's actually been whispering, about you." Brad blinked, caught off guard. "I thought we were here to talk about the work," he replied. "I'm happy to discuss the craft, the film, but I'm not here to feed the gossip cycle." George didn't relent. "There are persistent stories," he said. "About your behavior. About who you really are behind closed doors." Silence fell. Brad's expression hardened. "This is unprofessional," he said firmly. "I showed up in good faith. If this is the direction you want to take, we're done." George pushed on, louder, more combative. "So you deny being difficult? Temperamental? There are people who describe you as abusive. Are they all lying?" Brad's eyes flashed. "That's a serious accusation. You have no names, no facts, just rumor. You're not asking questions. You're throwing bombs." "I've spoken to multiple sources," George said, voice tight. "They paint a very different picture of you." "Anonymous sources?" Brad snapped. "Then this isn't journalism. It's slander." The room tensed. Cameramen froze. Producers whispered frantically into headsets. Brad leaned forward, his voice low and controlled. "Bringing my family into this? That's a line. A deep, personal one. And you just crossed it." George remained unmoved. "You made your personal life public. That's the cost of fame." "No," Brad countered. "That's the price of your version of journalism, where pain is content and truth is optional." As the tension surged, George upped the ante. "Every failed marriage. Every assistant's story. Are they all fiction?" Brad sat upright, visibly restraining his anger. "You don't get to reduce a lifetime to headlines. Real people are hurt by what you're doing right now." George pressed harder. "Millions are watching. Don't they deserve the truth?" "They deserve honesty, not spectacle," Brad shot back. "You want ratings. I want respect." Then came the line that shattered the room. "People are afraid of your power, Brad. They say your influence keeps them silent." Brad froze. "You're calling me a predator on national television, with zero proof. That's not raising concerns. That's character assassination." The studio's energy collapsed into stunned silence. Security quietly positioned themselves as Brad stood, unhooking his mic. "I came here to speak about art. You turned it into a witch hunt, he said. You agreed to be here, George barked. You don't get to shut down real questions. I get to walk away from attacks. That's what I'm doing, Brad declared, turning to the producers. This interview is over. He walked off the set without another word, past the frozen crew, the gasping audience, and the silent security guards now trailing behind him. George remained seated, flushed and fuming. The cameras captured every second. Every glare. Every accusation. Every ounce of wounded pride and public collapse. For viewers, it was a moment they'd never forget, raw, messy, unscripted. For Brad Pitt, it was the morning everything changed. What should have been a celebration of art became a televised ambush. A trial with no evidence. No judge. No justice. Only millions of opinions, a fractured reputation, and a morning interview that left behind more damage than any film ever could.